Don't do that. Totally do that. She just gave us a boob shot. Yeah. We got a boob shot. Boob shot on the camera.
That'll be edited out.
Then you can edit it out. Oh, sure, she edits her out.
Right.
Okay, who's going to talk first? Okay, I can say something, then you can say something, then you can just open it up.
Yeah. Not so much. Okay, guys, we have everybody ready. We're going to go ahead and try to get started. We're going to move a little late. No, you're fine. First of all, I just want to introduce myself. I'm Tiffany with This Red Head Loves Book. Kelly Montgomery over there at Candy Bookstore, Christine Stanley, Type PR, iCandy Bookstore, and we just want to welcome you guys to the huge mashup. We've got panels starting right now. We're going to go into small town big characters. That's going to involve plotting and character development. And Rachel Harris couldn't make it, but we do have Miss Anna Kristell and Miss Anna Conley. So let's give them the floor.
Welcome to Houston Mashup. I'm Anna Kristell. I also write under another pen name. My spicier side is Miss Ella Cole. We're talking about character development, and I've been told that that's my strongest attribute as an author. I've been told that by my publisher and by my readers. Don't ask me how I do that. Basically, I put myself in the head of the character that I'm writing, and I give as much information as I can about that character throughout the book. Other than that, it just falls into place. As far as plotting, I make an outline. I make an outline, and I don't always follow it, but I start out with it. Now I'm going to turn the floor over to Anne and let her tell you what she does, and then we're going to let you ask questions.
This is on? No. It's yellow. Okay, hello? Hi. I'm Anne Conley. I live in a small town with enormous characters. Stereotypes work, seriously. I also have a spicier side. Aurora Love. I wasn't really going to talk about, but I've also been told that my story is very character-driven. I also use an outline. I'm not a pantser. I cannot make stuff up off the top of my head and have it come out making any kind of sense whatsoever, so I have to have an outline. But in my writing, in my character development, I use real people. I'm not going to lie. People that I know are all over my books. They're real people, real experience. I change stuff up, but reality is so much more fun than fiction, if you think about it. And that's what I do in a nutshell. So, questions?
So pretty much we do the same thing.
Yeah.
And I'm from a small town also. And I write about places where I've lived. If anybody has any questions, we're going to open the floor for questions.
Because that's what I was told this was about. If you know. Awesome. Okay.
There you go.
So I'm obviously and I've noticed that there are a lot of players that utilize the book and really the source of a I might have developed their free book, their software.
I have not.
I mean, I don't have to
I have not heard of that.
I have not heard of that either. I have in the past used plotting guides for character development and stuff like that, but I don't stick to those. They're way more detailed than I tend to go whenever I plot out my stuff. I like to make generalizations so that I can have characters kind of take their own. Okay, awesome.
Thank you, Joe. What I like say, we find that you really feel like even though your readers say, oh, I love your
Character, yeah, you take a little bit in their mind, but the background, like you really like you replicate the same characters over and over again, and then you're like, what do you mean? You're like, I want it so much like my last characters that I wrote about.
Yeah. I do that. Well, I write in series. Most of my books are series,
Sure.
so it is the same characters. But
I'm only saying that because my latest heroine, I feel like I just write her exactly the same as my last series.
Yeah.
And people are like, I love her, she's so wonderful. It's like, well, maybe she's kind of like the last one. You know what I'm saying?
the thing that I think about characters that makes them interesting is when you're developing a character to write about, you give them a life. You give them things that they do, hobbies and favorites and all that, and you make that different for each character, obviously. And even though it may be the same stock character, which, you know, a hero is a hero, they have different flaws, they have different idiosyncrasies, but it would take a very astute reader to find the differences.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So are you a first person or third?
I'm third. They should have picked people with differences for this one.
Should pick people with differences for this.
You know, that's probably what my problem is, but because they don't write, they don't person that my voice sounds the same.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why my characters are always sometimes no. And I don't know, have you ever tried characters? Is it easy to flip over?
I think it is. But yeah, my erotica is first person, but I don't promote her a whole lot. She's just kind of for fun. But Anne writes in third person.
The only book that I started writing in first person was a story, and it's not been finished because the story isn't finished. My husband has terminal cancer, and I started writing a story about our journey with cancer, and it's not finished, but it is written in first person. My first book ever, which became a bestseller, was based on a true story. It was based on my lifelong friendship with a group of girls. We became friends in first grade, and we are now in our 50s, and we are still friends, and we still get together, and we still go on trips together, and we're always there for each other. We all have our own lives, but if someone, through the years, like we've had, one girl had a child that died, another girl went through a divorce, another girl had a spouse that died. Through all that, we're always there for each other, and that's the basis of my first book. It was turned down by several publishers because they said nobody wants another book about a women's friendship. When it was picked up by Lazy Day Publishing, it became a bestseller, and most of the reviews said, I love this book because of the friendship between the women. It's a romance, but the basis of the book was the friendship of the women. And so I based, that was third person. I wrote it, it's hard for me to even consider writing in first person. Now I used one point of view. I used one character was the main character's point of view, and the story was told from her point of view, but it was written in third person. Yeah, first person, that wouldn't come easy for me. Now, I know some people, like you said, third person wouldn't come easy for you. Yeah, first person wouldn't come easy. Get a feel for it.
Yeah, it's like practicing in your brain and, you know, he and she and all that. But now it's like, yeah.
And you have to decide if you're going to do third person omniscient or third person limited. If third person limited is what's prevalent in romance writing, third person omniscient is more suspense and mystery type stuff, and it's really difficult to pull off. I find it's very difficult to write in. So,
Yeah, I mean, to me, I've always been a storyteller, but I'm always thinking in my mind the he, she. I don't think of it as I. And I guess it's just a difference in what what runs through how your mind works.
For me, it's like I was telling my kids yesterday, on a book, it's like, I was like, I don't need to be mean or anything, but my husband and my children don't exist anymore. I am now
that person.
I am now that life, and for 3 weeks, that's all I am. I dream now, they talk to me,
Yeah.
We're crazy.
yeah, they still want to eat.
I have my Diet Coke and my whatchamacallit and everything right next to me, but yeah, I mean, it takes about an hour for me to come back to reality and say, oh, I'm married. And because in my book, she's a total, jerk and wants to around every, it's very different.
Try working a full-time job and having to concentrate on that all day when the only thing that's running into your mind is what am I going to write in the next chapter when I get home tonight?
Yeah, I've been very lucky. I mean, I've been very, very lucky. I love fun. I've been able to put that out.
Right.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, this air is really loud playing on our head. I'm Kaya Faglin, our suspense romance, and I was just going to add on to that. I'm completely different from you ladies. I'm a 100% intuitive all the way. I don't plot anything. I sit down at the computer and the words come out. I write in first person and third person. My internal series was written completely third person. The book one of the female series was written completely in first person, but book 2 and book 3 are written in first person and third person. I write the main character's point of view in first person, and then whenever it's vital for the reader to know about other things that are going on, I write from third person from all the other characters. And it just works for me. I love doing that. I love writing in first person and third person more than just strictly sticking to a third person point of view story. I'm actually writing 2 series or 2 books right now at the same time. One is written completely in third person, and one is written in first and third. So I love it. I love putting myself, I guess first person is my favorite, but I love adding to a story with the third person.
You do it effectively too. I read one of your stories in the anthology, I think. Did you do that in that
Yes.
story with the first person and third person? It's very effective. It separates the tone and the different points of view of the characters, and I like it.
That's what's really cool about my series, and I'm writing book 1 in it right now, and I'm doing it the same way. But the same my whole series is written like that. Book 1 is written completely in first person, and I had no intention of continuing on. But some people thought that I needed to. So, but whenever I started writing Hell's Gift, book 2 in that series, and I at that time I'd never read the book. That was like I wanted to do it. I started out from in first person from the main character's point of view, but then whenever I got to chapter 2, I was like, I need the reader to know what these other characters are doing, but I can't do it in first person because my main character is first person and he can handle the third in heaven. So how am I going to do that? So I just did, I just started chapter 2 in third person from their point of view, but, you know, it just worked. And it just flowed things for me. And I don't get confused whenever I'm writing and going from captain to first person to other characters that are third person, you know, from I to he said, she said. It doesn't confuse me. I mean, it just, like I'm 100% answer. I sit down and the words just come out. I don't even think that I'm doing it. I'm just like a shell, and my voices in my head are like, hey, just sit back and let's do this. So that's just me.
Well, when I said I have an outline, I don't always follow that. I know, and Ann, my assistant, can attest to this. I have changed books in midstream and threw her way off base when she beta reads for me. I start out with an outline, but I'm like you, when I start writing, the words just come out, and sometimes they don't follow that outline at all. But the outline just sort of gets me started. And as far as first and third person, I think that's just a personal thing. I know Vicky writes in first person.
And I do, but then I also alternate point of view with every chapter. And then when I use third person, it's more in the
Remembering, yeah.
And that, so I do have the third person, but it's not very much.
So I think it's just that's just a personal thing between authors. I guess I was always an avid reader, and most of the books that I read all through the years were written in third person, and I guess that's why when I decided to start writing, third person is what made sense to me. But like I said, I think that's just a personal thing with each author, which they prefer, which comes easier for you.
If I try to plot, if I try to outline or anything, they go on track. They're just like,
seeing if I don't, like, go on track. They're like, what are we supposed to do now?
Yeah.
What else? Anybody else have questions?
Oh, yes. You, the back row. Oh, just wait, the microphone.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Mary Elizabeth. I am the author of Dusty.
Dusty's my son's name, by the way.
In this book, this is going to refer to the small towns. It takes place in a small town in Oregon, and obviously I've never been there. I did, all the research on the internet, and I asked, on Facebook, asked if anybody from there, and so I'm not that way. But I think with fiction, you obviously take liberties, and we took a lot of liberties with this town, and it was even something I went over with my editor, like, is it okay if we put a building here that's not there? Like at the beach, we added a marina, it's not really there. And this is only one review, but it really kind of like blocked me, and she was like, how dare you disrespect my town because you don't know nothing about it? So I mean, how is it okay with the liberties that you take and things like that when it comes to small town? She was like, obviously you've never been here, blah, 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 okay.
That may be why I write only about places I've been to or I lived in.
Yeah. All of my books they either take place in a place that I have lived in, or I have a family that lives there, or I have visited, and I do extensive research online to find restaurants, hotels. I use real things.
I just figured it would be easier to write about a small town, just so we can take certain liberties.
I mean, I guess if you made up the name of the town and just made up the town, it would probably be okay. But and I'm not saying it's not okay. I'm just saying where you just have. What are the chances you would have a reader that was from that town?
Yeah, I have a couple.
Yeah, and you just so happen to have a reader that took offense to that. But I do extensive research on the towns.
I live in Palestine, Texas, and it's about 17,000 people. It's not a small town, but it's certainly not a big town. It's not a city. And I initially started writing stories set in Palestine. But I realized that there was always going to be somebody like that. It was like, you're on crack. That didn't happen. It's like, it's blah. So I decided to change the name of the town and made it Serendipity. I just made up the name of the town. It's totally Palestine, but you know, the town is called Serendipity in the books. And I played on cliches. I love cliches. They're my best friend. I try to make them a little bit different so that they're not completely roll your eyes. But its stereotypes are real. They're based on reality. High school football is huge, and that's a big part of small town life. So is the drug guy that hangs out at the pit stop. You know, it's just the newspapers are so illuminated, it's not even funny, and they get away with it because it's a small town. But those are all stereotypes and cliches that I use. And because once I realized where I was going with the stories, I was like, oh, people with farmhouses, you know, with that. So I just changed my name. And
I don't know.
And I have a town that I've never been to. I usually don't touch on things that you know, like, so I love Vegas in my life. I've never been there. I know. I don't need to go. And I've been playing it. I know. But, most of my setting is like in a mansion, and there's some other things that are happening. I know that there's a Caesar's Palace there, and that it's a casino, and that most casinos look alike. So I talk about the stairwell and a room, and I don't really go into great detail. I'll leave that up to the reader. You know, I just try to give them a little bit of a push, like them to our imagination. But I don't necessarily name things that's in a certain town that I'm not going to be able, that I've never seen before, that I'm not going to be able to back up at the point just on the end of the table. You've never been here. You can't write stuff like that.
well, you have to take into account, too, that there are idiots everywhere. I grew up in Houston. And they're going to leave reviews. I grew up in Houston. I lived here for 19 years of my life. I wrote a book about Houston, and I published it. And some reader did that to me. It's like, you can't ride a bicycle from Montrose to Rice Village. You can't do this. You can't. There's no titty bars that are zoned to show nudity in Houston. And I'm like, okay. Well, I didn't know that earlier. It's fiction. Exactly. So, I mean, I went back and changed the name to the city, you know, because I didn't want to deal with that. I was like, this is just. But there's people everywhere that know more than you do, and they're going to be sure to point out and. Sorry.
Yeah, okay, my last book. Sorry. My last book was a BDSM book. I had a guy I went to high school with sent me a message on Facebook and asked me how long I've been into BDSM. And he said, if you want to interview someone for your next book, here's my phone number. No, that seriously happened, okay? So, and it's like, I'm like, what part of I write fiction do you not understand? That's what a writer does.
In the beginning of each book, there is this little paragraph that says the story contained within this book is a work of fiction and the product of the author's imagination, and any resemblance to actual persons living or dead is entirely coincidental.
They forget to read something.
Or don't. That's don't do that.
Any other questions?
Talk to him.
That was the best part of the whole
He's
deal.
going to edit that part out.
And I might add that my assistant Ann has given me material on the 15-hour road trip here for my next 4 books. Try going on a road trip with this lady.
Don't see any more hands.
Okay, no more questions? No more questions?
Thank you.
Huh?
Favorite character?
Wow. Definitely Lily and Remember Our Promise.
Rachel from Hot Mess.
We have swag up here, everybody wants to. Postcards and bracelets and
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and take a break, or if you guys a drink, a snack, and we'll be back shortly.
That's a good idea. Awesome. I know, right?
Hey, we're going midstream.
How did you feel? How awesome is that? Nice layout.
Yeah. Yeah, probably will be. Okay, great. Okay. Nope.
Okay, we'll have to be closer. I know, I'm fixing it. I'm fixing to hang out.
All right. Let's see. Start going back to this. For me.
At what point? I know, I'm sorry. I do. Okay, that's awesome. That means you can give her help. I gave him the VIP pass. It means like we're gonna be just you have to get the whole reason why I started reading it. You have finance.
Huh? Yeah. Yeah, well, 60% already. Well, I swear I would, but then I don't know if I will or not. Yeah, I
Okay, when we open up the questions, I'm going to have to come up and steal the mic. Because we can't hear over here. So somebody's going to have to share. But, oh, this is just you and Mary. So I can keep it.
I got the videos that I'm recording.
You already got them up there?
Well, I got them on stage.
Okay, well, that's what I'm saying. You've already got them.
Mary Elizabeth. Mary Elizabeth. Your services are needed.
Oops.
It's probably not even water. Soda. Can I stay here? Am I supposed to sit in front of them so it can see me?
You can, or I can move this one, and we can
take that one
It's
off.
gonna look like it's lagging, but
It's okay.
are you gonna show me each of the recording?
No.
Huh?
Starting in the
That's your mic. Okay. And then the mute button, when you're not speaking, you can mute right here.
You just press it.
Yep. Okay. And then I'll go ahead and announce you guys. And
Do I go first? You go first.
Yeah, that's what I had. I had to. Which one is it? This is one.
then marketing, social media, podcast, and distribution.
I don't know anything about podcasts. I'm just gonna take social media.
Okay.
Okay. There's your mic. I'm holding on to two. I'm like, but when you guys get ready to go on that one, just give me a second to run to the mic.
Okay.
Record. Say.
Gotcha. Okay, hold on. I'll send an invitation to that one. Come on, biatch. And the other one.